Oh boy, it is back. We heard that in this week in Star Citizen post. Jumptown, Star Citizen's premier PvP event, is going to make its return later this month. And as we discussed in the video that was made following the aftermath of that event, it appeared that Clan Imperial Games had a little bit of work ahead of them to ensure that the once fan favorite event retains all of its past attractiveness. Because the least that we could say is that the last time that it happened, the players were experiencing a little Jumptown fatigue, as the once buzzy and bustling clandestine facility was more often than not just a shadow of itself, as players seem to have had deserted it in favor of far more lucrative endeavors. And the main reason for this lack of interest was because, in the end, even though players want to have fun, of course, they want to make money in-game. And the previous Jumptown event came at a time when players were busy grinding bounty hunting missions and collecting ship cargo boxes to then resell them at the junkyards for millions, if not tens of millions of Alpha UEC. And of course, all of that money being shipped over to some places where, of course, attracting pirates and all sorts of PvPers looking for action, and this was all done at the expense of the Jumptown event that was happening. But this was not the only reason why people did not flock in numbers to the filthy drug labs of the verse. There were also other factors that unfortunately made the event unpopular. I would say that the current distortion guns meta could have been also one of those reasons. First, it's never fun when a game falls victim of the success of one of its means of achieving victory, because it means that anyone not adopting this strategy is at a disadvantage against someone who does. It also means that the usual rock, paper, scissors balance is broken and that the developers are going to have to work on fixing the issue to make the prospect of having a player versus player ship combat more exciting. I would also say that the locations themselves are not free of flaws, and that this may have enticed players to spend their time at the brickyards as well. For example, the developers have added a second entrance, which is something that players have been asking for a while, and that was a positive change indeed. However, many other issues remain. One of them are bombs. Anyone with a bomber can just come to Jumptown and drop a couple of bombs for fun and ruin the efforts players have made to get the packages of contraband outside. One solution would be the addition of a shelter big enough to accommodate a ship right next to the production facility. Sure, it would not protect players from getting killed if they are in the open during the explosion, but at least it would save a laden ship and perhaps even entice the pilot of the bomber to land and take the contraband stored in the ship that would have been free out of its owner. I also think that one of the problems of Jumptown is its exposure to air attacks. Ground vehicles are too limited in range to really pose a viable threat to ships, and the facility itself does not feature any anti-air turrets players could take control of to dispose of any intruders in the air. I don't see why Clan Imperial Games would not add turrets to Jumptown in a similar way to how those turrets have been installed on every bunker that's currently present across the Stanton system. Perhaps players could find a code that would then activate them and fire at anyone who would not be in the party of that player who would have activated them. This could also be a very good way to encourage players to land far from the facility and make their approach with a ground vehicle, because this is my last concern here about Jumptown, is that there's still not really much use for ground vehicles. We have been sold those ground vehicles over and over again over the past couple of years, but there's not really a practical reason to take them, simply because the advantages are actually outweighed by the disadvantages of being on the ground. So if Clan Imperial Games could find a way to buff ground vehicles, maybe by extending the range or giving a range bonus so that they could shoot at ships while ship would have to get closer to shoot at them, or perhaps maybe reduce their detecting range on a radar, then maybe players would be more enticed to use ground vehicles. maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're going to see more ground vehicles being used with the upcoming freight elevators coming up in Star Citizen Alpha 3.23 during the second quarter of this year. But that's, of course, another topic for another day. But let me know in the comment section down below, guys, what would be your solution to make Jumptown more attractive? Are you going to take part in this upcoming Jumptown event? I will, as soon as I come back from Chinese New Year, because I'm on holiday right now, but I definitely will do it, and hopefully you guys can join me in my Discord channel, where we'll be able to band together and take care of anyone who would stand in our way. With that comes the end of this video. Speaking of Discord, well, I've got a giveaway on Discord. I'm giving away a Santokai to my Patreon and YouTube members, but you can also enter for free by joining our video sharing contest. You'll have the link in the description down below. Well, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. A big shout out as always to Dr. Fabin, Zero Crusher, Deplorable Fidel, and Ducky to the Car. I have been Iran, and I'll see you guys in the next one.